Bonjour. Like my hairstyle? I'll call this 1,000% humidity. It is humid as hell here in North Carolina, and a lot of people, they don't like that, but me? For my particular case of fibromyalgia, it's like dipping into a hot tub to go outside. Unfortunately, because I live in this RV, which is prone to mold, humidity indoors, bit of a problem, so I've got a giant dehumidifier over here that I run. But it makes it really like steamy hot in here, and it's so loud. So I only run it when I leave, and I haven't been doing that a lot lately. I need to do that. So my reality checks have been kind of downers lately. And I don't want to downplay that this living situation sucks. I don't like it. I don't want to be here. But another part that I like about reality check is being able to talk about some of my idiosyncratic ways of coping. A lot of the traditional kind of therapies and coping skills and mechanisms and things and medications just do not work for me. And I have had to tax my creativity to the limit to find things that have worked over time. Some of them are kind of fascinating, and I've spent a long time thinking about them and enjoying them and exploring them, and now I want to share some with you. And first up is a new one, and it's this. I want to talk about the benefits of blogging and vlogging, which I really did not expect this was going to be as beneficial to me as it is. I had started before the announcement of my hearing date, but since then it's provided a much needed outlet for me that I didn't even know that I was missing. I've realized that there's some inherent things about it that are really, really beneficial to me. First and biggest one is consent. It's on both sides. I'm consenting to share what I want to share, the way I want to share it, when I want to share it with you. And you consent to read my blog posts or watch or listen only as much as you want to. And there's no drama about pulling away, about stopping, and you don't have to respond. And if you do respond and I don't want to respond to what you've responded, there's no drama about that either. I've been empowered with control and consent. Face to face, there's often not a lot of room to negotiate consent, and it can be problematic. It can lead to judgment, it can lead to standoffishness, it can lead to defensiveness and aggressiveness. When there's face to face, you don't get a free out of just like, okay, I'm tapping out, I don't want to be here anymore, because there's like this sense that that's rude. And it does hurt when I'm talking about something that's really important to me, and somebody's like, no, I don't want to hear it. Because I'm like, well, this is my reality. If that happens on your end and you decide you don't want to hear anymore from me, then I don't have to deal with the drama of that. I don't have to deal with your rejection. I really like that. There's also time and care and thought that I can put into this. There's time and care and thought possible in other people's responses. It doesn't necessarily mean they won't like go off about the titles of my whatever or run with some little thing or misinterpret it, but you know what? I can ignore those too. It's what I love about books. I have loved from the time I was little that someone took the time to really think through what they wanted to say and put it down in this valuable form. And I was able to read it and close it. And the book didn't chase after me and harass me and force me to read it, whereas people were not as respectful of my space and my time. And there was never any drama about me just closing the book and putting it away and saying, no, I need to take care of myself. Also, as I'm doing this, I'm feeling more and more like I don't have to pull my punches anymore. Base my language on taking care of the emotions of the other person, lest they beat me over the head with them. I get my full say without being interrupted or bullied directly. I can actually say things like privilege and relate anecdotes where people's behavior was bad without getting derailed by the intentions or character arguments that people so love to use to shut me up and derail the argument, where I want to focus on the impact of the behavior and they want to focus on their intent and their character, and that's not at all what this is about. And I feel like it's getting easier for me to be more honest, especially verbally. It takes so much less energy to just say what I mean and not worry about being attacked or intimidated or mocked or even ganged up on physically and humiliated and ostracized. which I've had way too many experiences in face-to-face. Face-to-face, problematic for me. This cuts down on almost all those problems. I can choose to ignore any comments that I don't like, and if there are threats, I have proof that I can give to the authorities rather than just my hearsay. And I'm going to link to you one of the best videos that I've seen on this, Cat Black's Don't Read the Comments. Fantastic video. I read somewhere that most of the people who do comment online are people who are just really trolling for a reaction, that they're just full of unexploded anger that has no outlet, and they take it out on other people. And I found this to be true, that most people, they don't comment unless they feel strongly. And most of the time that strong feeling is a strong negative feeling. Technology empowers and protects me in a tangible, reliable way, where I know from experience I can't count on people or situations or anyone or anything else to empower and protect me in the moment when I need it most during these conversations. Technology gives me a physical buffer between me and others. Limitations as to how they can retaliate if they don't like what I say. They can do stuff online, but there's a limit to how much that can impact me. And there's the possibility of time and consideration that people put into their replies, and accountability and having a record of what people say to me as well as witnesses. I really, really love when people take the time to post long and thoughtful replies. You know who you are. Thank you. Other benefits. I can use more than just words when words aren't enough. I can put graphics and links into my blog posts and these videos. I have the capacity to include annotations and links to the knowledge that I'm drawing on. I can take time to sort things out and rely on my communication strengths, which are largely through writing, to fact check and choose the right words to express as best I can. And it's also okay to be messy. There are no expectations. There's this freedom and empowerment. It's my rules. The internet is a little bit like Terry Pratchett's Fantasy City Ankh-Morpork. Dear, dirty Ankh-Morpork, in that it wonderfully doesn't care. It's dynamic. It's robust. It's full of people who, as long as I'm not totally stupid, don't present a real danger to me in the way people can face to face. I also have access to a larger audience than just those who are around me. There's a greater possibility of finding kinship and compassion and humility and support than taking a chance on a single individual I may meet out anywhere, whom the odds say, in my experience, will not be worth it. I feel like I'm also getting used to saying aloud my truths and how I feel and my experiences. I'm getting practice speaking out without having to rely on a trusted audience that might sabotage and set back my progress with careless, compulsive feedback. I had this dream of a no-Joe, where people who had trouble saying no and setting boundaries, who had been through enormous abuse, could go to a place and practice verbally against opponents of gradually increasing levels of aggressiveness, and they would go up in their belts as they learned to hold their own and defend their positions and keep their cool and get through these difficult situations. I loved the idea of that. The closest thing that we have is assertiveness training, and this is usually business oriented, and it is ineffective. I've read a lot of stuff on assertiveness communication, and I can tell you right now, it has some major flaws to it, in that assertiveness communication, in order for it to work, like nonviolent communication and the DBT skills interpersonal effectiveness module, it relies on people both caring for one another. It relies on the people being best possible people at the time. And any communication system that depends on that, depends on these people being honest and caring about one another's feelings, it's gonna fail. And fail big time, most of the time. As I well know, because I've read a lot of stuff on the gentle art of verbal self-defense, all the way to the art of saying no. And a lot of this stuff in the field, it just doesn't work. So it's kind of like that no-Joe. I feel like I have a verbal punching bag at home that I can practice my punches on. I can practice my arguments here. I can say them aloud and get used to the feeling of saying them aloud, and take that little step between me writing in my journal all of my experiences and my reflections and the conclusions that I've arrived at, and facing someone who is having their feelings and their reactions and their defensiveness and their derailing at me. I can be more secure in the things that I have practiced saying to the camera. Plus, I really didn't expect this, but it feels better after I do it. It doesn't seem to matter to me if people see or hear or read or comment on it. I feel like burdens are being lifted and stuff is being cleaned out. I used to live in a 2,400 square foot home, and this 36-inch mobile home is maybe 300 square feet, and it's got permanently installed furniture like this dinette and a bed and all of that stuff, so it's even less than that. Condensing down from that to this involved this very long process, which was deceptively physical, because there was a lot of emotional stuff going on when I would be clearing out and getting rid of things, sometimes making choices that were very hard. I had to get rid of a lot of stuff really fast, and sometimes stuff that I was really attached to, but also a lot of trash and crap that was left by abusive roommates who caused thousands of dollars worth of damage to the dream house that my husband and I built, but that I needed to get out from under the mortgage of. And I would go through periods where I would just be a clearing out machine, and I would just be getting rid of stuff and selling stuff and getting furniture to auctions, donating things, and then getting things hauled off to the trash, and just go, go, go. And then I had to go into a period of rest, and then I would start it again. And I felt it out as I was going, but then I got down to the things that I really valued the most. And I found out that I could live on a lot less, and that it felt more freeing. I felt less tied down. I felt less burdened, and I cherished more the things that I have. It's my hope that in blogging and vlogging these things that I've held in for so long, that after unpacking all this garbage and all of these trials and tribulations, what I've learned, and the sharing of my experiences that are at times painful or difficult, it'll free up all the good things that I feel may have been buried underneath all of this stuff and may still remain alive, like my imagination and my sense of humor that got lost in all the horrible and awful things that I couldn't share with people without them pouring salty lemonade of the shittiest things to say and do to a person in pain in response to what I said, because they weren't comfortable. Now, there are some drawbacks to this. The support that I feel online, while invaluable and necessary to my survival, can't actually provide physical support in the real world. But that's not really too much of a drawback, because I'm so bad at face-to-face, and I don't want to be dependent on other people. So that's not really particularly a drawback. One drawback, though, is that I am doing all of this myself. The shooting, the editing, everything. It can be taxing. It can use up my energy and my time and my spoons. But as I said, I do feel better after I do it, so it's worth it. Since the announcement of the hearing date, I have had this sense, and it's not a rational sense. I can't logic myself out of a position I didn't logic myself into, but that I'm running out of time, that I have nothing to lose. That may have this sort of impending doom about it, but it's also freeing to feel like if I can't see the world past August 23rd for me, I'm a lot less tied to what are the consequences going to be if I tell the truth. Now, this may just serve as a record of the deterioration of my psyche as my hearing date approaches. I have noticed a lot of increased anxiety, a lot of increased depression, a lot of increased symptoms, difficulty focusing, and my memory is even worse than ever before, but I'm just taking it moment by moment. And this is an idiosyncratic coping skill that I find has been so liberating and empowering in a situation where I feel very disempowered and know that I don't have much control over what's going to happen on August 23rd. But between now and then, this time here, this space to talk, it's mine, and I cherish it. Thank you for listening.